क्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत्तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम्। ॐ ध्यायेन्नित्यं महेशं रजतगिरिनिभं चारुचन्द्रावतंसं रत्नाकल्पोज्ज्वलाङ्गं परशुमृगवरभीतिहस्तं प्रसन्नं पद्मासीनं समन्तात् स्तुतममरगणैः व्याघ्रकृत्तिं वसानं विश्वाद्यं विश्वबीजं निखिलभयहरं पञ्चवक्त्रं त्रिनेत्रम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्।
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किं कुर्वत संजय। श्रीभगवानुवाच तैव्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप। अर्जुन उवाच मदनुग्रहाय परमं गुह्यमध्यात्मसंज्ञितं यत्त्वयोक्तं वचस्तेन मोहोऽयं विगतो मम। मन्यसे यदि तच्छक्यं मया द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वं दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्। श्री भगवान उवाच न तु मां शक्यसे द्रष्टुम् अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षुः पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्। संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ततो राजन् महायोगेश्वरो हरिः दर्शयामास पार्थाय परमं रूपमैश्वरम्। दिवि सूर्यस्तहस्रस्य भवेद्युगपदुत्थिता यदि भासदृशी सा स्याद् भासस्तस्य महात्मनः। ततः स विस्मयाविष्टो हृष्टरोमा धनञ्जयः प्रणम्य शिरसा देवं कृताञ्जलिर्भाषत। अर्जुन उवाच त्वमक्षरं परमं वेदितव्यं त्वमस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानम् त्वमव्ययः शाश्वतधर्मगोप्ता सनातनस्त्वं पुरुषो मतो मे। अनादिमध्यान्तमनन्तवीर्यं अनंत बाहुं शशिसूर्य नेत्रम पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुताशवक्त्रं स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम् द्यावा पृथिव्योरिदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन्.
Thank you, Shalabh.
Shankar, your video is off.
Thank you. I realize I unmuted but did not turn the video on. Yeah. So we were in Adhyay Shodash Adhyay.
We finished the 7th verse.
So this is Daiva Asura Sampad. Vibhaga Yoga. Daiva Asura Sampad. Division of the divine and demonic attributes. So you said we finished 7? No, 6 I think we finished.
Yes, we did 7.
We did 7, okay. Yes, that's right, we did. Yes. So far it has been pretty straightforward, I think. The important verse is number 5. Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. So according to me, the divine attributes conduce to liberation. The demonic attributes to bondage. Ma Shuchaha Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi Pandava. Grieve not, you have inherited divine attributes, and the same is anyone who reads the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, or listens to it, has been endowed with some divine attribute. Okay? So this consolation of 3rd and 4th padas we can take for ourselves also. Again and again, Bhagavan is very clear in pointing this arrow towards liberation and the arrow towards bondage. Right? So these sort of divine attributes, such as Abhayam, Sattvam, Sattva Samshuddhi, Jnana, Yoga, Vyavasthitihi, Danam, Damasya Yagyasya, Swadhyayah, Tapa, Arjavam, Ahimsa, Satyam, Akrodha, Tyagaha, etc. Shantir, Apaisunam, Daya, Bhuteshu, Bhuteshu, Aloluptam. Etc. Freedom from agitation of the senses when exposed to objects. Mardavam, Krihi, Achapalam. Tejaha, Kshama, Dhriti, Shaucham, Adroho, Na Atimanita, Bhavanti. These are the divine attributes. Now, our important thing, are these divine attributes to get some gold medal? Is somebody going to give you a gold star? What do you think? But many people still may think childishly like that. It doesn't matter. People may give you a gold star, they may also give you a lot of derision. There is that verse from Bhartrahari. Nindanti niti nipunaha yadiva stuvanti. Lakshmi ravishati gacchatu va yatheshtam. Adhyaiva va maranamastu yugantareva nyayat patha pravichalanti padamna dhiraha. I don't know if you remember this verse. Nindantu. What does nindantu mean? Ninda. Derision, shame, right? Niti nipunaha, those who are well versed in the Niti Shastra. Yadi va stuvantu, or whether they praise you. Correct? Lakshmi Ravishatu, whether Lakshmi comes, there is wealth, comes today, Gachatu va yateshtam, or leaves tomorrow. Adhyayava, whether death is today, Maranamastu, Yugantareva, or after a whole yuga. Nyayat patha pravichalanti padam nidhiraha. The path of Nyaya, the wise ones follow without failing. Right? So the key point here is we correct ourselves not because in the ultimate limit. You correct yourself for your own self, for your self honesty, for your self salvation. Along the way, a beginning thing when a child will correct itself because others are watching, right? But a grown person is not doing this to get some gold medal or gold star from anybody, right? Why is that? Because the world is fickle. One day you will get gold star, next day the same person may change their opinion about you, right? Correct? But your honesty to yourself is the most important thing, because you have to live with your mind and your buddhi till the last instant, right? If in your mind you know you have done no wrong, whatever anybody else says, you have no problem about. On the other hand, if in your mind you have done wrong, you think whatever else everybody praises, you will still feel uncomfortable, right? So that's why the reason to follow is not, you're not going to get a great aspect, and particularly the jnanis, the ones who know, will see through you like a transparent sheet, right? However much you try to cover up by being very pious, very observant, the jnanis can see through you like that and say, okay, I understand this person, right? All right. On the other hand, jnanis can also see that your true nature is only consciousness, right? So when you turn your mind in a nice way towards those who know, they will definitely bless us with their grace, whether it be our guru, any of the three great gurus, or Bhagavan. That grace is always forthcoming to the humble and honest, right? This is the import. So that verse is very important. And so the reason to practice or to strive for the divine attributes, the Daivi Sampad, is because they conduce to liberation. Not because they gain us any kind of title in the world. That may come, it may go also. Right? Okay, so then moving on, 5, 6, 2 orders of being. So this is quite straightforward. Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daiva asura evacha daivo vistarasha prokta asuram parthamishram. Now Bhagavan says, please know also about the demonic, because we must recognize that within ourselves. And when we recognize it, then we can apply ourselves to move the mind gently away from it, because it is conducive to bondage. No other reason. See, our Advaita Vedanta is a very peculiar and difficult path. Why? I'll tell you why. I'll give you 2 simple examples. When we were growing up, in a very early childhood, around, and people, generally kids, whatever, people around you would say, there is a god Muruga, Muruga Kartikeya, right? He has a spear. It's called Veil in Tamil. Veil is the spear. Okay. They say, if you do something wrong, Muruga will poke your eye out with the veil. Okay. All right. So what do you think of this? It's a pretty horrifying thing to tell a kid, right? Because it gives us the impression of a very cruel God, correct? But actually there is a truth to this statement, but they did not understand. He will poke the spiritual eye out, not your real eye. Do you understand the spiritual eye? The Jnana Chakshuhu, the very eye that Shalabh was saying in the second or third verse this in the recitation. You remember that? Darshayamasa, Sanjay says, he showed, correct? Because Bhagavan says, I'll give you the divine eye. Doesn't he say that to Arjuna? So the import of that statement, which these ignorant fools who were telling us did not know, was that he will extinguish the spiritual eye in you if you do wrong, because you're doing it yourself, right? On the other hand, see, it is a good way to discipline a tamasic temperament. If your temperament is tamasic, this is the best way to discipline. Good and evil, right and wrong, danda if you do wrong, okay, sweets if you do right. This is appropriate. When the mind is at a very tamasic level, this is all it can understand, and it's a very good formula. Okay? It's a good formula. For a certain age, for a certain temperament also of people, very good formula. Because the tamasic mind cannot grasp the deeper import when I say he will poke out the spiritual eye. A tamasic idiot will say, okay, whatever spiritual eye, I don't even know what my spiritual eye is, so what if he pokes it out? I'll continue to do whatever I want to do. Correct? Okay. But if one proceeds in the path and you become more intelligent and you say, okay, there is some deeper meaning to this. Okay, now what is the deeper meaning? So let us now examine. Okay, the mind is very dangerous and the mind is very devious. The mind can argue from different aspects to take us into the demonic path. Okay, now if you take Advaita, Advaita says no two. There is only one consciousness. Correct? Okay. So then, if there is only one consciousness, we must cultivate viveka, discrimination. Correct? Yes or no? What is discrimination? Between the eternal and the transient. Correct? Yes or no? Okay. So now, are the divine and demonic attributes eternal or transient?
Transient.
Transient.
Transient, yes.
They don't belong. There is not an attribute of consciousness. Okay. Now there are two kinds of people. If you take somebody like Bhagavan Shiv Ramana Maharishi, they have become so virtuous that through virtue they have transcended virtue itself. Can you understand that? They have established themselves so much in virtue. Sattva, when purified, dies of itself, they say. Right? So in a person like Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi, that person has practiced virtue to such an extent that they have transcended virtue itself. They can say virtue is transient. Okay, they have purified the mind to a very high degree, beyond which there is no further purification possible. Okay. However, the mind, when it is full of not reached that stage yet, when it has still got vice in it, when it's still got demonic, can make the same argument too. Right? I can come as a drunkard to you and say, what is the point of all this virtue? It is all transient anyway. Let's have another drink, man. Can I say it or not? I can. And will I be wrong? No. At some level, I'm right. Right? Right? But it's not going to help me, right? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Right? So morality in Advaita Vedanta is very difficult. Which is why Bhagavan earlier said, he said, there are two paths. One is the attributeless, remember. Didn't he talk about the imperishable without attributes? Then he said, the other is me. He said, the path, the ones who follow the path of the attributeless is hard. Much harder than the ones who follow me. Correct? So we must apply ourselves very skillfully with both feet. When the mind is inclined towards the Lord, apply the path of devotion and His word as law, right? You agree with me, right? So if you take most of the other faiths, like Christian faith and all, they follow very much this path of bhakti only, correct? It's a devotional path. What Christ did is right. Christ is the ultimate. Christ died for our sins, so we must leave those sins so that we can become pure enough to attain to Christ, right? You cannot participate in communion and other things if you engage in sin. It makes sense, perfectly reasonable and logical at that level of thinking, right? The difficulty comes when you want to transcend that and actually enter into Advaita, right? Do you see the difference? Because our thinking has to be consistent, right? This is why Bhagavan says the path of bhakti is easier, right? Follow my path. Follow the injunctions given in the Vedas first, right? Then you will purify your mind to attain to the level where we can transcend that itself. But to reach that state takes time, right? So for instance, on Saturday that went past was Yajurupa Karma Day, right? On Yajurupa Karma, we perform something called Mahasankalpam, the great resolution. In this Mahasankalpam, we narrate how after so many births, through some Janma Abhyas, some studies or some practice, we have attained the human birth. And on top of that, the birth in a Sanatana Dharma, in the Hindu family, right? This is a great blessing, right? And then we narrate all the different kinds of sins we have committed. Mahapatakanam, Atipatakanam, Malinikarananam, Sankarikarananam, right? Surapana, Svarnasteya. These are the great sins, right? Guru Talpagamana. We narrate these, we remember these, right? And then we say whether they are done prakasham, whether they are done openly, or they are done rahasya kritanam, the ones that have been done secretly, the ones that have been done openly, right? The ones that have been done knowingly and the ones that have been done unknowingly, right? Things that have been eaten that should not have been eaten, right? Jati Brahmsha, all these things, we list all of them at least once a year, and we pray for purification, right? Now, it depends on how much it speaks to you, right? Do you see what I'm trying to say? So there is a procedural, there is a ritual, procedural way to turn our mind from the demonic towards the divine is what I'm saying, right? And it's done in the Upakarma. And that's why we actually not only pray for release from those sins in this life, but in past lives also. Okay. So now let us go ahead and see what is the nature of these demonic attributes of the mind that create. So first of all, it said demonic mind don't distinguish between action and inaction. Pravrittim cha nivrittam janana vidura sura. Action is a means to cultivate the means to reach human values. Purushartha sadhane. So for instance, we are doing the Vaidika Nitya Karma, Naimittika Karma, Kamya Karma, and then there is Nishiddha Karma, right? Those which are forbidden, correct? So slowly by engaging towards Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, these are Kartavya, they are Pravrittihi. Nivrittim cha etad viparitam, those that are opposite. Yasmat anartha hetoho nivartitavyam sa nivrittihi tam tam cha. Turning away from the means to those values, right? So as long as we find some action in our behavior that is turning us away from liberation, away from Purusharth, that may be characterized. So this very discrimination between, is this action leading me? And Swami Gyaneshwara Bharati puts it very simply, is it useful or not useful? It is not even judgmental as virtue or vice, or punyam or papam. Is it useful? Is it not useful? This agitates the mind less. Okay, so if we reflect back and say this is not useful, then it's not useful, right? So this is the point. But he says that the nature of the Asuri Sampat is that there is no distinction between the two. That forget discrimination of the Nitya Anitya, which is a very high level of discrimination. First, let there be discrimination between Pravritti and Nivritti. Right? Do you agree that this is an easier level of discrimination? Correct? Yeah. So then let us read 8, please.
असत्यम ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्पर संभूतम् किमन्यत् काम हेतुकम्.
Asatyam. So the world is untrue. Untrue meaning that it has no eternal basis. True is that which is real. Real is that which is eternal. Okay. If we consider the world to be established on something that is permanently changing. So, I mean, any kind of material or empirical explanation of the world is asatyam in this context because it is that which is changing. Right? So if we take a material view of the world, even if we take the sun is composed of gases, right? It's a continuous fusion reactor. Is that correct? Am I right? Right? Isn't it true that hydrogen and hydrogen form helium? Is that correct? Right? Continuously generating. So according to physics, at some point it will die, right? It will be over. Right? And so then you have those supernovae and then they become collapsed then, right? Is that right? Stars. And so if we take that viewpoint, then if we take all of the universe as constantly changing only, if that is the total sum of our understanding of the universe, technically that would be considered as an Asuri Sampat and an Asatyam. Okay? A deeper understanding is that this very notion of the sun is a combination of Namam and Rupam. We put a Nam, sun, and we put a form that comes in the eye. We call it sun. Okay. Now, how did this Namam and Rupam come about? It came about because of the Panchamahabhutas. It's because we can see the sun. We can feel its heat, right? We can project it out at a large distance from us, right? These three characteristics reside in the upper three chakras. When you master the chakras and you understand the nature of the senses, you will see that these are not real, right? Then who is the one who tells you, who is the governor of the inner eye that tells you that there is a sun? You ask those questions. So you go from the many to the 5 to the 3 gunas and to the 1. You understand this? When I say 1, 3, 5, many, that's what you should understand. This is true, deep Guhya Rahasyam. It is worthless to have taken human birth if we don't understand these things. Okay? So whenever I say many, 5, 3, 1, you must understand this. Okay? So now that is Satyam, Pratishtham. It is established in truth. That is unchanging. That consciousness is unchanging. Okay? So if one has not had the God's grace to see it in this life, one must at least trust the words of the great seers. Correct? That is all Bhagavan is saying. That is called Daiva Sampat. To deny it is Asuri Sampat. Right? This is the point. Asatyam apratishtham te jagat ahu anishwaram. They say it is ungrounded and it's godless. Right? There is no. I didn't catch that. Siri wants to know what God is. When I said godless, she said, I didn't catch that. Yeah. I should ask Siri after the class for a joke. Who is God? We'll see what she says. So, indeed, right? Anishwaram. Aparaspara sambhutam. It is just born of mutual union, chemical reaction, right? Certain elements have certain valencies. When brought in proximity at the right conditions of temperature and pressure, they react, and therefore, through this union, certain things happen. Yeah? Fairly enough. I mean, at a certain level, it's true. It's not untrue, right? At a certain level, correct? Yes or no? It is true that if you bring elements together, they will undergo the chemical reactions as dictated by the laws of chemistry, right? And thermodynamics. So, and we can calculate those things, and with that we can build rockets, and we can go to the moon, and we go to Mars, and you can go beyond, and that is wonderful, right? That is a certain law. Now, but is that all? Is the entire world born of that? Right? This is a question everybody has to ask for themselves and answer for themselves, right? Then it is nothing but kim anyat kama haitukam. What is this other than being born of lust? Kama hetuhu eva kama haitukam. Kim anyat jagata karanam na kinchit adrushtam dharma dharmadi karanantaram vidyate jagataha. No transcendent cause like righteousness and unrighteousness prevails. What other cause has it? This is the materialist philosophy. Kama eva praninam karanam iti lokayatika drishtihi iyam. Lokayatika. The materialist philosophy of lust alone being the source of living beings. Okay. So, any questions on 8? Shall we go to 9?
So this is the case for only we're talking about one living beings here, right? Not the non-living beings, or the earth, moon, sun, whole universe. So what is being referred here? So the lust born, the desire born, right? That is the only the living world what we see. Is it referring to, or like you mentioned, anything is the right proportion of chemistry, new product can be born, right?
Indeed, in this context, he says praninam, so one must take it as living beings. Kama eva praninam karanam iti lokayatika drishtihi. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Number 9.
एतां दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः.
Etam drishtim avashtabhya, that is, having established themselves or relying on this drishti, this viewpoint, this philosophy. Which one? The one just referred to before, that is godless. Nashta atmana alpabuddhaya. Alpabuddhi is one of limited wisdom. Limited, you would say, puny intellect. But as I say, buddhi is deeper than intellect. It's the discriminating part of the mind, right? Having this very little discrimination, nashta atmanaha, lost their souls, having lost their true notion of self. Prabhavanti ugra karmanaha, they exert themselves fiercely. For what? Kshayaya jagato hita. These people are actually ahitaha. They are shatrus. They are not working for the greater good of the world, right? Because they do not understand the rhythm of the world. From the day the Industrial Revolution, well, I don't know, it started on one day, but it started in some time. From the time of the Industrial Revolution, mankind on a whole has been superbly destroying nature with tremendous efficacy by engaging in very ugra karmas, fierce actions, right? Mining the earth to extract every possible metal, mineral ore that we want, taking all the water that we can with scant regard for replenishment, taking vegetation, disturbing the climate to the extent where it now looks almost irrecoverable. By not allowing the natural processes to return to their natural rhythm, right? See, first, before you enter into a system, when you must understand what is the system, correct? Suppose there is a play and I am the pawn, I am the fool, I am the foot soldier, I am the courtier, right? I should know my part, correct? If I come into the play and say I am the king and actually, in fact, I am the fool in the play, I will disturb the whole play, yes or no? The other players won't know their parts. They will say, what is this idiot saying? This is the nature of the poor insects and the animals and the birds and the vegetation. They're saying, who is this idiot man who has come in and disturbed this entire universe? The fool doesn't know his place. He keeps saying the wrong thing and doing the wrong things all the time. Isn't this true? But the rishis knew what is our place, right? The rishis knew. So they said, this is the science of life. We call it Ayurveda, right? They established the Shastras. How should you till the land, etc. And now there is wisdom still. The wisdom doesn't evaporate completely. So now people are going back, organic farming, sustainable farming. Yeah, it's what we were doing 5,000 years ago. Right? Before the mad rush for development started, right? But of course, some things cannot be blamed. Our human population has also grown at a rate which had become unsustainable for those old practices, right? So there, India cannot particularly claim to have a great standing, having ballooned its population beyond any logic or reason, right? And so anyway, but Bhagavan gives a very fantastic analysis. I mean, and think of this. However you historically date the Bhagavad Gita, it is very old, right? How relevant it is still in 2021. So, relying on this philosophy, having lost their proper nature, falling away from practices leading to the next world, their puny intellects oriented to objects, they sally forth fiercely violent and work to destroy the world. They are the enemies of the world. Of course, when I say this, many people don't agree with me, but it does cross the mind in a very simple-minded thinking. I'm a simple idiot. Do we really need to have space tourism and go and do all this thing when there is not enough food and water for people distributed correctly in the world? When children are dying, do we need to go to Mars and do space tourism, which is the greatest priority of the richest men in the world today? At least 3 I can know who are engaged in this. It's very sad, right? So then naturally, if one does that, you cannot expect tomorrow a good thing. On the other hand, if that money was plowed into helping the most disturbed places in the world, where there is so much famine, war, right? Correct? That will be loka hitam, right? See, this is ahitaha. They're not thinking of the greater good of the world. How will those children grow up tomorrow? Will they grow up to have good attitudes and values? No, they cannot. They cannot. If a child grows up in a war zone and doesn't get enough to eat and drink, it is not going to grow up into a very nice human being. Okay? We cannot expect that. Okay? So there is a lot of lack of wisdom in these things. The ones who have aggrandized the resources may not be using them in the best way. And yet, there are who do too, which is not to say sattva never dies completely, right? There are people doing remarkable good things, saving, lives across the world, helping and improving lives. So there is that too, and that's what gives us enthusiasm, positivity to align with those, and be a agent for that change. Next one, 10, please.
काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरं दम्भमानमदान्वितः मोहात् गृहीत्वा असद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रतः.
प्रवर्तन्ते अशुचिव्रताः. Kamamashritya dushpuram, resorting to lust. Dushpuram means it can never be satisfied. That kind of greed. I mean, you make your first million, then you need the first billion. There's no stopping, right? Okay. Dambhamanam adanvitaha. Dambhamanamadaha taihi anvitaha. Dambhascha manascha madascha. Dambha is a hypocrisy, a dogma. Mana is vanity. Mada is a kind of intoxication, right? So you can see a kind of unyielding, dogmatic approach of some very wealthy, influential people. They never want to admit they're wrong, right? And they're completely excited and they're completely absorbed in their own quote unquote success, right? And the world also gives them a lot of fuel for that, right? By constantly following every little word that they say. Did you know what Elon Musk tweeted today? Right? How much attention they get. And the world gives them to, right? So then it is going to intoxicate you and think that at whatever age you are, you don't need to listen to anybody. You know everything, right? Because with one thing, you can change the stock price of so many shares, right? And that it must give a tremendous sense of power, right? If I can flip the economy like that with the thing of my fingers, right? So this is the dambhamana madanvita. Mohat grihitva asadgrahan. Because of delusion, mohat, grihitva, having taken on or holding on to what asadgrahan, false dogmas. Asadgrahan, ashubha nischayan, the ones with not good determinations. They work with unclean resolve. Ashuchi vrataha, ashuchini vratani yeshamte ashuchi vrataha. They strive in the world with unclean resolves. Nothing, I think, too much to analyze there. 11, please.
चिन्ताम् अपरिमेयां च प्रलयान्ताम् उपाश्रितः कामोपभोगपरमा एतावदिति निश्चितः.
Depending on endless speculation, chintam aparimeyam. Interesting, they used the word speculation. That's actually how the stock market also operates. Endless speculation, but of course here chintam is intent on the, like ever speculating, resorting to speculation that may not be measured, that is illimitable till that moment of death, that is ever speculating. Intent on the enjoyment of sense objects. So pralaya is ending, antam upashrita, till the end of their, till their death, till the end of their dissolution, constantly, endlessly speculating. Kama upabhoga parama, intent on the enjoyment of sense objects. Etavat iti nishchitaha. This enjoyment, assuring themselves that this is the supreme enjoyment, supreme goal of life, this is the truth. Etavat iti nishchitaha. Ayameva paramaha purushartho yaha kama upabhoga. This is indeed the highest purpose of life. These are the kama upabhoga parama. Iti evam nischita atmanaha etavat iti nischita. So this is also quite clear, I think. Number 12.
Sorry, yeah. आशापाशशतैर्बुद्धाः कामक्रोधपरायणाः ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्.
Asha pasha shatair baddha, bound by 100 cords, shataihi, instrumental case of 100. Of what are these cords made of? Asha, hopes. Pasha, those are the cords. Right? Asha pasha shataihi, asha eva pashaha tat shataihi, asha pasha shataihi baddha, bound by them. Kama krodha parayanaha, they are well versed in lust and anger, wrath, given up to lust and wrath. Ihante, they seek. Cha ishtante, kama bhogartham, kama bhoga prayojanaya, na dharmartham, not for dharma but for kama bhogartham. Anyayena parasva apaharanadina ityartha kim. Artha sanchayan, artha prachayan. Unjustly, anyayena artha sanchayan. Anyayena artha sanchayan. Yes. Unjustly, by seizing others' property, they accumulate wealth. To indulge in these two, they strive, but not to promote righteousness. So, unfortunately, that is the very founding point of capitalism, right? Which we are now in as the dominant economic system, is that some belief that the market will regulate. Market is fair, right? But this is not in accord with the fact that every citizen, are they getting what are the minimum things that a human being needs? Or are they being deprived by plundering robber barons? I think Shalabh would know this word of the robber barons, right? Is that correct, Shalabh?
I don't actually.
Huh?
I don't know.
You don't know this?
No.
You're an economist, I say.
Yeah.
I think the word was applied, this phrase is applied to the chaps like in the early era of American capitalism, even before Rockefeller, the oil magnates and rail magnates, they were called, I believe, the robber barons. You should go and look it up. But basically, when the Industrial Revolution started, right, what was the whole idea? It was that those who had capital can make money, right? Because they understood capital and labor, you put together, you get product, correct? Okay. And the fundamental idea was the ones who had capital would use any means to get cheap labor into the workforce. Yes or no? Slavery was that only. Slavery is free labor, right? You know, yesterday I was watching this music from Harlem with my daughter in the 1960s. They interviewed one fellow. His name was Pop Staples. He's a fantastic musician. He said he used to work in Mississippi 14 hours a day for 50 cents an hour. I just want to let that sink in. 14 hours a day, 50 cents an hour. He became a fantastic musician. He bought his first guitar for $8. So imagine how much he had to work to get his first guitar. Okay. All right. Hard work. And this was technically after slavery was lifted. Okay. Because they were being paid, right? So this has not gone away. The labor, the ones who are exploited, has only changed. The names and faces have changed. But without labor exploitation, you cannot have billionaires and multi-billionaires. It's not possible. Okay. Income inequality, especially income inequality, will always be there. There were Rajas in the old days also. The Rajas had amazing amount of wealth. India was actually, when first people came to India from other places, they were amazed at the wealth. They became very greedy. They became very jealous when they saw the amount of wealth in India in those days. They had never seen this kind of wealth before, right? But this wealth was actually possible. That kind of good life was possible because there was some dharma. If you read the Shastras taught to the kings, it is that the praja must be happy. The subjects must be served, right? If we consider the attitude of Bhagavan Sri Ram, it was to serve the subjects, that their welfare should be foremost, right? And also his actions and the actions of the great Rajas, Maharajas, were informed by dharma, right? This dharma they learned from having good ministers, right? And these ministers were godly men, correct? This was the organization of society. The Kshatriya is the lord, the ruler, the Raja, right? Endowed with good qualities, but also capable of exerting force and giving charity. This is the mark of a Kshatriya, right? The Kshatriyas and the Brahmanas were always very close, right? So the Kshatriya would always consult with the Brahmana. Is this the right thing to do before doing it? This was the order. Brahmana is one who knows God. So he knows, like a rishi, what is the correct order of things, right? If an exploitative practice is contemplated by the Kshatriya, the Brahmana would advise against it. No, this is not going to be good for your country, for your kingdom, correct? But now that's not there, right? So the unjustly, so taking wealth by seizing others' property, right? And now this is legitimized. We have laws in this country that legitimately allow people to seize other people's wealth, right? Think about it, right? How else can you sustain an income inequality that we see in this country? Consider the wealthiest country, and yet how can there be so many poor people starving, right? How can there be so much debate on minimum wage, right? So income inequality is a very good indicator of dharma in a country. Okay. and United States leads in the in the inequality itself. Okay. So anyway, and this Bhagavan predicted many thousand years before. Right? So next one, 13, please. What is their idea? Idrishasya tesham abhiprayah. This is their idea. What is their idea? 13.
इदमद्य मया लब्धम् इदं प्राप्स्ये मनोरथम् इदमस्तीदमपि मे भविष्यति पुनर्धनम्.
Correct. Idam adya maya labdham. Today I won this. Idam prapsye manoratham. I shall fulfill this hope of mine soon. Idam asti idam api me bhavishyati. Now this is mine. Now this is this wealth. Punardhanam again shall be mine. Very simple. Not hard to understand. 14, please.
असो मया हत शत्रुर अनिष्ठे चापरानपि ईश्वरो अहम भोगी सिद्धोहम बलवान सुखी.
Correct. Asau maya hata shatruhu. This foe I have slain. Hanishye, I will in future kill. Aparanapi, other foes too. Ishvaro aham, I am the mighty Lord. Aham bhogi, I am the enjoyer. Siddho aham, I am the one who has accomplished, the perfected one. Balavan, I am strong. Sukhi, I am happy. Okay. That formidable foe, see, Devadatta. Devadatta is a very common name in Sanskrit grammar. Any person is called Devadatta. Okay. Devadatta namam maya hatah durjayah shatruhu. Other petty foes I shall slay, etc. No ordinary man am I. Okay. Other men are but burden on the earth. Okay. 15, please.
आड्यो भिजन बानस्मि कोन्योस्ति सदृशो मया यक्षे दास्यामि मोदित्य इत्यज्ञान विमोहिताः.
Right. Adyo. I am very, Adya is Dhanena. I am very, very wealthy. Abhijanavan, high born. Ko anyo asti. Who else is there? Sadrusho maya, equal to me. Yakshe dasyami. I shall make sacrifices. I will give gifts. Modisha and make merry. Iti ajnana vimohitaha. So deluded by ignorance they be. 16, please.
अनेक चित्त विभ्रांता मोहजाल समावृताः प्रसक्ताः काम भोगेषु पतन्ते नरकेषु च.
Aneka chitta vibhranta, distracted by myriad fancies. Mohajala samavrita, caught in a net of delusion. Prasaktaha kamabhogeshu, chasing lustful enjoyments. Patanti, they fall. Narake, into a naraka, into a hell. Ashuchau, an unclean hell. Right? Such as Vaitarani. Now, very important. You can read in Garuda Puranam. What is the nature of the soul when it leaves the body, right? This preta, the departed one, this one must cross this very unclean and disgusting river called Vaitarani. And there are other kind of punishments prescribed for those who do sinful activities, like kumbhi pakam, boiled in a pot of oil, etc. Right? And this is why in our tradition, at the time of death, they give a cow, because holding the tail of the cow, one can cross the river of Vaitarani. Okay. So in order that your father or your mother may not suffer at the after the time of passing, on the way, preta, all the way to the Pitrulok, depending on their actions, good or bad, the gift of a cow to a Brahmana allows them to cross the river of Vaitarani by holding the tail of the cow. The cow being so pure will enable that person to cross the Vaitarani river. This is the idea. Okay, 17.
आत्मसंभाविताः स्तब्धा धनमान मदान्विताः यजन्ते नाम यज्ञैस्ते दम्भेनाविधिपूर्वकम्.
Correct. Atma sambhavitaha, stabdha, self-exalted, stabdha, stubborn, dhanamana vadanvitaha, conceited and arrogant by wealth and conceit. Dhanamana madanvitaha. So, intoxicated, properly intoxicated by their wealth and their self-importance. Yajante, nama yajñaista. They hypocritically offer nominal worship, dambhena, through great arrogance. Avidhi purvakam. How do they worship? Defying the sacred rules. Right? If consulting a Jyotish, the Jyotish says that this is the time for the puja. This is the muhurta. This is the correct. Oh, it's all very difficult. Let us do it on Sunday. It is easier. That day, I don't have to work. Right? Let's do it on Sunday. Let us celebrate. Idiot. You can celebrate whichever day you want. The celestial objects don't obey your thinking. The day on which Amavasya happens or Purnima happens is not subject to your thinking or your convenience. This inability to understand that there are greater powers in the universe than you, right? This is what we are doing, right? Any festival, we'll celebrate it on the weekend because that's when we get time off. Sure, you can do that. But you're surely being a bit arrogant in denying the fact that the celestials have movements that are beyond you, right? Anyway, for 18.
अहंकारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं च संश्रिताः मामात्मपरदेहेषु प्रद्विषन्तो अभ्यसूयकाः.
Correct. Ahankaram, relying on egoism, balam, power, darpam, pride, kamam, lust, krodham, wrath, cha samsritaha, relying on those. Asritaha. Mam atma paradeheshu, spurning me in themselves and others. Not recognizing God within themselves and others. Mam atma paradeheshu, pradvishanto, pradvishantaha. They are malicious. Abhyasuyakaha. That is the Abhyasuyakaha is going with Mam Atma Paradeshu. That is spurning me. Abhyasuyati is one who rejects, spurns. These spurners, what are they spurning? They are spurning the Lord in them and in others. And they are Pradvishanta, therefore malicious. They exalt themselves egotistically in regard to qualities real or fancy, which they have imputed to themselves. This egoism or nescience is their worst flaw. Aham karomi iti ahankara. Whereas the wise one realizes that prakritehe kriyamanani gunahi karmani sarvashah. Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. So, power is conjoined to greed and leads to the overthrow of others. Pride is that fall to the mind that leads to the disregard of righteousness. Lust has reference to women, etc. Kamam stayadi vishayam. Krodham anishta vishayam. Wrath refers to that which is disliked. Swadeha paradeheshu cha tad buddhi karma sakshita bhutam mam pradvishantaha mat shasanati vartitvam pradveshaha tam kurvantaha abhyasuyakaha sanmargasthanam guneshu asahamanaha. From their comments on the virtues, they are malicious. Now let us read 19. We are getting close to some interesting stuff. So 19, please.
तानहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपाम्यजस्त्रम् अशुभान् आसुरीषु एव योनिषु.
Very good. Thank you. Tan aham dvishatah kruran. Those who hate and are wrathful. Samsareshu. Nara adhaman. In all of samsara, the lowest of men. Kshipami. I throw. ajastram ashubhan asurishu eva yonishu. I throw them nara adaman adharma dosha vatvat kshipami prakshipami ajastram santatam ashubhan. I fling perpetually into inauspicious ashubha karma karinaha demonic wombs. Asurishu eva krura karma prayasu vyagra simhadi yonishu, like the violent beasts such as tigers and lions. Kripami itti anena sambandha. This is how, this is the Lord's fruits that he apportions to them, right? Let us read 20 and 21 and stop maybe at 21. 21 has a very important. 20, let's read. Asurim yoni.
जी आसुरीं योनिमापन्ना मूढ़ा जन्मनि जन्मनि माम प्राप्यैव कौन्तेय ततो यान्ति धमां गतिम्.
Right. So remember in the Mahasankalpam, I told you that we acknowledge the great blessedness and grace of having taken birth in a human form, and that too in a Sanatana Dharma tradition, right? On the other hand, what happens if one is born in a demonic womb? Asurim yonim apanna, having been born in a demonic womb, mudha, deluded, janmani janmani, in repeated births, mam aprapya, never reaching me, eva kaunteya, O son of Kutti, tataha yanti, therefore they proceed, then they proceed, adamam gatim, they proceed to an ignoble state, a very sad end. Here is a summary of all the conceivable demonic attributes. In this threefold evil, the endless demonic attributes are entailed. They could all be avoided by avoiding the three evils to be presently mentioned, these constituting the very root of all misfortune. So 21 is a very important verse, and therefore let us read it, because it's a very summary verse.
त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामः क्रोधस्तथा लोभः तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत्.
त्रिविधं नरकस्य idam dwaram nashanam atmanaha. There is the threefold is the gate of hell, destructive of the self, kamaha, lust, krodaha, wrath, and lobaha, greed. Tasmad etat trayam tyajit. Therefore, one should reject them. Of course, very difficult. These two are the central, although easy to say, easy to read, easy to narrate, but these, particularly the first two, Kama, Krodha, even Bhagavan Ramakrishna has repeatedly said these are the undoing of man. They are not easy to conquer. We can see them in us all the time. And it is important to be honest and acknowledge that these are extremely difficult. Right? The Ramakrishna used to say Kamini Kanchana. Kamini as the desired woman, Kanchana, gold. So same thing, Kama, Krodha, right? So again, having himself been an embodiment of the Lord, he was able to summarize very easily, right? And these are always the most fundamental, and then of course Lobha after that. So Narakasya idam dwaram, it is the portal to Naraka, right? So in this context, it is very difficult, of course. I'm not trying to say that this is easy, but there is another verse which tells you the dwaram to the good also. I will just mention that and we will close. Charanam pavitram vitatam puranam yena putastarati dushkritani tena pavitrena shuddhena putaha atipapma namaratim tarema lokasya dwaram archimat pavitram Jyotishmat Brajamanam Mahasvat Amritasya Dhara Bahudha Dohamanam Charanam no Loke Sudhitan Dadatu. So this is the verse to Charanam. Charanam is character. Charanam is good character. Okay. And it talks about Pavitram. It is purifying. How good character is purifying. And it manifests in many ways. It is very ancient. Vitatam Puranam. Yena Pavitrena Tarati Dushkritani. by following this good character, these good values, we are able to overcome all the bad deeds, which are unfortunately natural and easy for us. See, we should never deny this. Being born a human, it is very easy. No point blaming anybody, no point criticizing anybody, no point shaming anybody, no point making them feel guilty. This is not the right way. Right? They are natural at some level. But by keeping the other door in mind, we can slowly, like we wash the ink bottle and the ink comes out and slowly the water becomes clear. We are all in this process. Right? No one is perfected. So other than, of course, our great gurus and those guides. So Tena pavitrena shuddhena putaha. By purifying that character, right? Ati papmanam aratim tarema. It enables us, we swim over great papa. Ati pam tarema. Aratim tarema. Lokasya dwaram. This archimat pavitram. This purified portal. Lokasya dwaram is this character. This purified character is the portal into the great good worlds. Right? Jyotishmat, it is shining. Brajamanam, it is dazzling in its brilliance. Right? Amritasya dhara, like a stream of nectar. Bahudha dohamanam, it is capable of extracting that amrita from all these worlds for us. Charanam nail. So, O Charanam, O character, may you take us, Naha, all of us, Suditan dadatu, may you take us to a better place. So just as he has said these three, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, portal to Naraka, good character and purified character is the portal to the immortal worlds. Right? So with that, I will stop. We will come back and resume. It's useful to know both, right? So then we will go and read 22 and conclude the chapter when we return. Now, already gone a little over time. Thank you for your patience. But I thought we will bring it to a point where there is a logical stop. Very good. Any questions?
Where does the last one, the good one, the mantra recitation you did? Where does that come? Where is that? I think I heard that before, but yeah.
Taittiriya Samhita, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Taittiriya Samhita. Yeah, I just thought it's somehow relevant as there it talks about Lokasya Dwaram Archimat Pavitram. Lokasya Dwaram, the entry portal to the world is this purified character. Very good. Acha, I will say Shanti Mantram. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and see you next weekend. Huh? Om Tacham Yora Vrinimahe Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivihi Swastirastunaham Swastirmanushebhyah Urdhvam Jigatu Bheshajam Shanno Astu Dvipadehe Sham Chatushpade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.